Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Today, I will be interviewing my English teacher about the books. Welcome, Nicole.
Ah, thank you for having me, Ines.
How are you?
Not too bad today. It's a lovely winter afternoon here.
Yeah, it's too hot here, and I really hate hot weather. I want to
Uh,
live very cold in the future.
Live in a very cold place in the future.
Yeah, yeah, or rainy.
Eh, England.
Yeah,
That's a good country for you then.
might be. Yeah, or north of Turkey.
Mm, Northern
It's
Turkey.
really rainy. Yeah,
Perfect. You have options.
yeah. So, guys, we're gonna talk about the books today. Would you like to introduce yourself a little bit?
Okay. Hello. You know me already, but I'm Nicole. I've been an English teacher for about I don't know, 5, 6 years now. Uh, Originally from Canada, but I currently live in Brazil.
Also, you lived in many countries before, right?
Yes, quite a few,
Yeah.
quite a few,
Yeah.
but currently
Yeah.
Brazil for the foreseeable future.
Yeah. That's nice. So I have 5 questions for you about the books. Are you ready? Can we start?
If you're ready,
Okay.
let's go.
Okay. My first question is what genres of books do you prefer to read and why?
Um, hmm, I like a range. I've always enjoyed classic literature, but it tends to be a little bit more difficult to read, a little bit more heavy.
Yeah.
I also tend to read a lot of like feminist literature. Again, that tends to be very heavy topics.
Mhm.
So, one thing that I have started to kind of get into recently is the genre of magical realism,
Wow.
those types of books like Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings,
Mhm.
but it's based in reality with like magical elements. So
Yeah.
for me, it's kind of fun, but still grounded in reality.
Yeah. I like what you read. Like we are talking sometimes about the books. Yeah. Yeah. I like reading many different stuff like about art history,
Mhm.
sometimes philosophy,
Philosophy, yeah,
and yeah, sometimes like about science, but it's really hard to read, really heavy.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I've tried to make more of an effort to read more like fun books that aren't so heavy because I would always gravitate towards like books like based in reality, nonfictions,
Mhm.
things with women's issues, things like that. But after I've read for an hour, I'm like, okay, this is too much, and it feels very taxing and it's very emotional. So I need something more fun to just
Yeah.
to read in
And you
between.
can, yeah, and yeah, that's really a good one because it's really nice to read more pages,
Hmm.
and yeah,
Yeah, because a lot of
it's really
like
important.
classic or the heavy topics like philosophy, even reading like 10 or 20 pages can feel like a lot because the content itself is it requires
And
a lot of
slow.
thinking and processing. Yeah, like I'll read with a dictionary sometimes with some of the classic books. It's
Yeah.
absolutely necessary for me to
Yeah, it
understand.
is. Yeah, sure. When I'm reading on heavy books, I can follow the line with the pencil or with my
Like if it's a
eyes
light book.
quickly. Yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, and but like especially that one is really was really heavy,
I can
and
imagine.
yeah,
Is it the
yeah,
Cosmos?
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Look at this.
Yeah, that's not a light book that you could just speed read
Yeah,
through.
yeah, I cannot do it with that.
No.
Yeah, that's true. So we can move to question 2. What are your reading habits? Do you read a specific time or whenever you get a chance?
Usually I read when I'm like in the mood to read, but unfortunately that doesn't happen as often because I'll be exhausted or I just don't feel like sitting down to read. So recently I have started to try to just read before bed, um,
Mhm.
even if it's only like 5 minutes or a couple of pages, because once I start reading, it usually becomes easier to continue and just say, oh, one more page, one more
Yeah,
page.
if it's
So
light one.
If it's light, that's the difference. If it's a heavy book, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm ready for bed now.
I don't want to read. Yeah, one page is
Is
enough.
enough. It's sufficient. But I used to read so much every day. I would read like multiple books a week. And then after a while, I kind of got out of the habit.
Mhm.
So I have been making more of an effort to read, even if I don't feel like it, just to get into the habit of reading
Mhm.
daily or weekly.
Yeah, like a few months ago, I was really busy with my studies, and I cannot read. I was
You couldn't read.
exhausted. Yeah, I cannot read, and I don't have that much time and energy for reading. But
Yeah.
right now, I'm trying to read at least 10 pages every day, and I can do that. You can do less, but every
Yeah,
day.
less but every
Yeah,
day. It's the consistency that matters most.
yeah,
Um,
it's really important for having new
yeah,
habits.
and no one's making you read like a book a day. You're not an English
Yeah.
major, so you're okay. Yeah. Even if you don't want to, it always makes you feel better after you've done it. So I
Mhm.
feel like just getting up the energy to do something can be the most
Yeah.
exhausting part, but once you've done it, you're
Mhm.
probably going to be happy that you did it.
Yeah. So next question: do you have a specific place you prefer to read books?
I mean, typically it does end up just being in my bed in the evening, but I
Mhm.
also like if I can read outside, read on at the beach. In the past, I could read in very busy public areas, but nowadays I do prefer the quiet
Mhm.
and not being easily distracted.
Yeah.
But typically, it ends up being like in my bed in the evening. That's the most like
Yeah.
relaxing and comfortable.
Yeah. Before I couldn't read at the bus or at the park or
On the
somewhere.
bus, yeah.
Yeah, or somewhere public, because I guess I have ADHD. I'm not sure, but it's a really big
You
problem for
suspect.
you for, yeah, for reading outside. That's why I
Yeah.
prefer my house for reading my on my desk. And but
To
right
read at your
now,
desk.
yeah, and right now my headphones really helped me a lot for reading,
Because it's like
for
noise
listening
canceling.
some. Yeah, and I'm just sometimes listening like a rain sounds for reading and focusing better. It's really helped me for reading on the bus, and
Mm-hmm.
like I can read sometimes 10 or 15 pages while going to my university, and it's really
Yeah.
nice for spending my time with reading.
Yeah. And you're
Yeah,
not as distracted because you have some noise to kind
yeah,
of drown out the other sounds that are around
yeah,
you.
yeah. Especially hot days, I can when I'm listening to like a rain sounds, I can feel more cool,
Yeah, you can
or
feel
cooler,
cooler and
right?
you're like, oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I wish there was rain right now.
Yeah, especially in my last days of the school, like
And the
2 weeks
last few
ago.
days.
Yeah. So next question then: do you prefer ebooks or printed books, and why?
Printed. Always printed. Um, I I use ebooks out of necessity
Mhm.
because when like traveling or on vacation, uh, it's so much easier when you can have hundreds and thousands of books on your device rather than having to lug a bunch of printed
Of
books
course.
with you. And I used to do that when I would travel. I used to have like stacks of books, and then I was,
Mhm.
faced with the problem of heavy luggage. And I don't
Yeah.
like to just like give books or like if I love the book, I want to keep it. I want to have it on my bookshelf.
Yeah.
So I did have ebooks out of necessity, but printed books for me, because one of the reasons I like reading is because it gives me a break from looking at a screen. Uh,
Mhm.
I don't want to just like close my laptop and then look at my phone for hours.
Mhm. Yeah.
If I want to read, I want a break from the screen so I can read printed books. And I also like to be able to see the progress, like visually. I can see how much I've read and how much I have left, and I
Yeah.
like that as well.
Yeah.
Good
Both
motivation.
of them is right. Yeah, but like both of them is good,
Yeah,
and
they have pros and
uh,
cons,
yeah.
but printed
Uh,
for me is superior.
yeah. Also, I prefer printed books because I like
Couldn't tell.
taking notes, and yeah, like I'm talking with my friends about to what's the difference between ebooks and printed books. They're just saying
Mhm.
uh it's really nice for bringing with you the ebooks like a
Uh,
or
yeah, to bring
Kindle
it
or
with you
something.
wherever.
Yeah, but I don't like taking notes on computer or something because I
Uh-huh.
can lose them. And they're just saying you can also lose your printed books. Like if there's a fire, your books can burn. But I'm
Oh
just
yeah,
saying,
or
but I can.
wait.
Yeah, I like having big library. It's not like
Mhm.
Kindle.
No,
It's
I
better
mean
for me.
Kindle have a library, but it's not
Hmm.
the same.
Yeah,
And technically, like printed books can also get ruined by floods or water leaks and water damage. But
yeah,
for me, it's worth the risk to have them.
hmm
And again, it's better to not be staring at a screen for hours, especially if you're an avid reader. Like if
hmm
you're spending hours a day reading, that's additional time of looking at another screen.
yeah,
So I feel like it's nice to give your eyes a break by looking at
yeah.
paper instead.
All right. Next question is, what book would you recommend to someone who doesn't enjoy reading? It's a really hard question, I
Mm.
guess.
It is a hard question, but I feel like it's easier than some others. So, one of the books that I had recently read uh, that I think is good for people that may not necessarily like reading or they've gotten out of the
Hmm.
habit of reading, it's
Hmm.
called If Cats Disappeared from the World. And one of the reasons that I wanted to read it in the first place was because of cats in the title.
Yeah.
But one reason that I would recommend it is because it's a shorter book. It took me
Hmm.
like 2 days to complete it.
Hmm.
It's not that long. And the topic itself is slightly heavy, but the way that it's written, it's very easy to read. It
Hmm.
it's not something that feels like it's gonna be a lot of work. And so I think for people that don't like reading, short books that are easy to comprehend, easy to relate to,
Yeah.
it's the best method to go. I'm not going to recommend like The Old Man in the Sea or Moby Dick
Yeah.
if you don't like reading.
Hmm.
No, that feels like work even for avid readers.
Yeah. Thanks for a good answer, but I don't have any idea for that question. Okay. The next question is, do you take notes or highlights important passages while reading, or do you just skip?
I do. No, I have like my color coded system. So one color would be for like for new words that I want to keep track of or that I want to
Same. I'm being
research.
same.
One of them is just like a passage that I particularly like that I want
Hmm.
to have. And the other one might just be like just random if I come across something and I just want to have it in my notes. So
Yeah.
typically like three colors that
Yeah.
coordinate to something else. Yeah.
So we can skip that question. Thanks for your answer. So, do you write your review about a book after finishing it?
Mm, like sometimes I'll post something on like my Instagram story of like a quick little blurb about
Hmm.
the book and if I enjoyed it. I have a Goodreads account and I will do the star ranking
Hmm.
of the or rating of the book. But to write a full review, I'm like, oh, that feels like a lot of work. And I'm
Yeah.
not obligated to write a review. I will give you
Yeah.
your stars, but a review is a lot more work.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, and also just it requires a lot of thought. And I think to write a review, you should like sit down and carefully craft something, sit with the book
Hmm.
for a bit, not just write like immediately after reading.
Yeah.
So usually I'm like, ugh, no.
I do mostly. I just started short time ago. I'm just adding the date and writing short comment
Hmm.
and
But like for your own personal notes.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
My comment, my name, and my sign,
Your signature.
and yeah, my signature. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. And I feel like that's much less pressure than if you're like writing a review on a website for books or an Amazon
Mhm.
review or something like that.
Yeah.
This is just for you, yourself, and if you want to share it with someone else.
Yeah, like in the future I can share with my son or daughter and they can see that notes like from 20 years ago, and it's
Yeah,
really important for me and for my family.
yeah. But to do it publicly, for me, unless it's a book that I absolutely loved or absolutely hated, which I think most people, if they feel passionately for or against something, they're more outspoken about it. But if you're kind of
Yeah.
neutral, like, yeah, I liked it. It's not one of my favorites,
Yeah.
but I liked it. You're not going to
Yeah.
write like a long review.
Yeah. The next question is there a method you use to increase your book reading speed, or do you have speed reading?
I do not speed read. Uh, I I can be slow to read because sometimes my train of thought will kind of trail off and I'm still
Mhm.
reading. And then I'm like, wait, what did I just read? So I have to go back. And for
Yeah.
me, speed reading, it only works with certain kinds of books, I think. Um, if it's a book that requires more like thoughtful analysis, then I think
Mhm.
speed reading
Yeah.
isn't going to be as good for that kind of book.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm like, I'm not, it's not a contest. I'm not competing with anyone. I can just take it slow and actually absorb what I'm reading and
Yeah.
thoughtfully consider it.
Yeah. Like I think it's depends the person. Before I was just reading, I was just following with my eyes, and sometimes the pencil is really the pen is really helping me for
To
the
follow
following
it,
the
like,
line.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't need to read so fast like this. I don't need to read like this, and like I'm reading like this,
Hmm. Yeah,
and
I
like
feel like
I
that's
don't
a
need
good
to
pace.
back here. Yeah.
It helps to have like a line to follow along with
Yeah.
because I don't have that line. So sometimes I keep reading and then it's just like, wait, wow, I kind of zoned out for a second there. I'm reading, but I'm not processing. So I
Yeah.
feel like if it helps you to like actively read, then whatever you
Yeah.
need to do to improve.
Yeah. That's why I can follow the line with my finger, with my eyes.
Hmm.
Yeah, I used to do, and that's why I can do with my eyes. But still, I use one pen while reading because I like taking some notes or highlighting.
Hmm.
Yeah. The next question is it's really important for me actually.
Mm.
Probably you can guess my
Understand.
answer.
I know.
How important is a book's cover design to you? Do you choose books based on their covers or not?
Mm. Yeah, the cover, even though the expression is like, don't judge a book by its cover, I judge books by their covers.
Mhm.
There are clearly some books that have terrible cover designs or really cheesy cover designs.
Yeah.
And sometimes for me, like, I don't even know what the book is about, but the cover will attract me and the design is
Exactly.
unique or just very visually appealing. And so I'm drawn to that. So for me, yes, it is important. But
Yeah,
if I liked a book and it had a terrible cover, I'm not going to not like the book because of the cover.
yeah,
But the cover does matter.
for sure. Actually, yeah, I agree, but it's important for taking your attention. The cover is
Yeah,
really
to grab your
important, right?
attention.
Yeah,
Yeah. Like
and
back in the day when I used to go to Blockbuster to get movies,
yeah.
and they had all of the DVD covers first, and then you
Mhm.
would just see the DVD covers. And that
Yeah,
for me was like looking through, I'm like, ooh, what cover like speaks to me? Which one attracts me to this
yeah,
movie? Because it's the first thing you see.
yeah,
So it matters
yeah.
when it comes to
Some
books.
of my yeah, actually, some of my books are has the same cover, just different authors and different names.
Like very
And
simplistic.
yeah, and like I can show you another one. Maybe that one, just where
Mm,
looks really great for me. Yeah.
yeah. I assume as someone in visual communications design that like having a visually appealing book cover is important. You can appreciate when it's
Yeah.
not just, I don't know, whenever I think of a bad book cover, I think of those like really bad romance books that always have like a shirtless guy with long hair and
Yeah.
a damsel in distress on a rock or something like that. And I always think like those are terrible book designs.
I agree.
Awful. It's all the same. It's copy and paste, and it's always the same kind of
Yeah.
character.
Yeah.
So that to me is bad. But there's a couple authors that I think always have like unique designs that appeal to me. And one of my favorite authors, he always has like very different kind of not graphic in a negative sense, but like the graphic design on the book is very good.
Yeah.
So it's appealing.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for your answer. So, the last question is, what is the best advice you can give someone who loves to reading? I
Loves
think it's
reading.
really important.
That's a lot of pressure now. um, buy from small local bookstores. Yes. Don't let the paper book industry die.
Yeah.
The best advice. Okay.
Yeah.
You can't let
Yeah.
Amazon get all of the books.
Yeah. That's true. And mine is like, if you like to read a lot, but if you're feeling bored sometimes, you can follow with your finger and you can read a little bit faster, not that much, and you can read much more pages in the same time, like in a half
You can
hour,
read many more
and
pages.
yeah, and probably you're gonna feel happier for that,
Mm,
and yeah,
yeah.
it's worked for
And
me.
maybe another could be something like, I think we all have particular genres that we prefer. And maybe
Mhm.
we've tried other books in other genres. And after that one instance, we kind of write the
Mhm.
rest of the genre off.
Yeah,
So this is one that I could also personally take is, not being so closed off. If you see a book that has the genre of one that you're not typically a fan of, or one that you don't have a good
yeah,
experience with, and give it a
yeah,
chance.
of
Because
course.
there's some really good ones in genres that you might otherwise overlook or might not be interested in the first place, and just give it a chance. No one's obligating anyone to finish the book. You could always start and then just stop.
Yeah.
Uh, you're not
100% I
obligated to
agree.
finish.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I have done that where there's certain books that I just wanted to say that I read it, and it took all of my energy to finish it. And I was like, I have to
Yeah.
know, like for my own sake, I need to finish this. And it felt like such a task.
It's so disgusting. Yeah.
It was so difficult. Like The Catcher in the Rye took me so long, and it's such a short book, but it honestly took
Yeah.
me weeks to finish because I just didn't want
Yeah.
to.
Sometimes it's more, sometimes a month for me.
Yeah. Sometimes months, or sometimes I just stop and I read another book and then I go
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
let me finish
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Okay. Is there anything you want to add?
No, but now I kind of do feel like reading. I have a couple books on my list, so I feel like this is a
Oh,
good motivation for me.
yeah. And I will start a new book. I read before, but probably I'm gonna start again. It's about the religion, history of religions, and yeah, I will start this one.
It's one of those heavy books that,
Uh,
maybe
maybe.
you can't
Yeah.
read 100 pages of in one sitting.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, we will see. Actually.
Yes. I have my long list of books on, I do use a book app because it's easier this way. And I have to order books in English to be shipped to my place here.
Mhm.
Uh, so I have many books on the reading list that I just haven't gotten around to. So I need
Yeah.
to start.
Thanks for your time. Thank you so much.
Anytime, Ennis.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So, guys, please don't forget to subscribe and see you in another video. Take care. Bye bye.